Hello and welcome to Daily Austin Music. My name is Colin McDonald.
This is Austin Music News.
This is a new segment called Musical Adulting. Now when you start playing shows as a musician and as a band, you start to get paid. And there's this question that you have to answer after that is, what do I do with this money? Now if you're getting paid in check, which most of us are, if you are getting checks written to you personally and you're putting that in your bank account and then paying other members of the band, that is the worst way you can possibly do this, because you are liable for that money for tax reasons, because you're the one filling out the 1099 and everything else. So what you should at the very least be doing is file a DBA, doing business as, or an assumed name with the Texas Secretary of State. Now you can do this for less than $30, and what happens is when you get a check written to your band, they write it to whatever your DBA name is. So Doo Doo Band will get a check written to them. You'll deposit it in the Doo Doo Band business bank account. Then you'll write checks from the Doo Doo Band bank account out to each member, and that's how you'll get paid. And at the end of the year, someone will hand out 1099 forms for everyone to fill out so you can stay on top of your taxes. Taxes are extremely important. We'll get to that in a minute. Now another option is to file an LLC, and the best part about filing an LLC, this is mainly for actual bands. And what I mean by bands is groups of 4 or more people that are together, writing together, sharing all of the expenses, sharing all of the royalties, sharing everything. If you file an LLC, you can do that for around $300 with the Texas State. I think it's Form 205. And for $300 you get limited liability, which means if you're sued, they sue the company and not you individually, which is great. There's a lot more to the LLC, but if you're in a band where everybody's sharing publishing and royalty and all of the expenses, which is actually really rare, then look into an LLC. It might be for you. Now finally, what I want to see more bands doing is filing as a non-profit, because let's face it, you're not profiting. And if you are, you should be putting that money back into your band, back into your small business to grow that business more. Now filing for a nonprofit in Texas is actually pretty easy. It's $25 for Texas, and then you can fill out the 1023-EZ form for the IRS, which is $275, and you can be granted status as a 501c3 or C4. A C3 is a non-political organization. A C4 can do some political things. If you're into that, look that up. There's a whole thing there. Now one of the major advantages of becoming a nonprofit or a 501c3 is you can now accept grant money and tax-deductible donations. So anyone that donates to a Kickstarter or anything like that that's donating to a nonprofit can use that to write off their taxes at the end of the year, which is an incentive to get more money. You can also apply for grants, the city, the state, or the federal level for your nonprofit as a band. Now one of the caveats of this, you have to have at least 3 board members, so there is some finagling there. I've seen a few people do it with an artist, a manager, and a loved one, or just an artist and some loved ones. There's some ways around it, but I'd love to see more people taking advantage of the nonprofit status, because you're not making a profit as a band. If you're making any money besides what you're paying yourself, I'm hoping you put it back into advertising and promotion and all that kind of thing, gear, everything else. Which brings me to the last point, which is taxes. Taxes are extremely important to being an adult, because if you don't pay taxes, you will pay taxes. They will come after you. So you need to save your receipts. Every time you go to a gas station, every time you go to a restaurant, everything you do, save your receipts, because you can write that off at the end of the year and actually get money back. The biggest barrier to success here is just time. And let's face it, you probably have more time than gigs. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you tomorrow.